testing. Are we audible?
Okay, yes.
Yep, it's clear. Okay. Sure, as a start. Very good morning to my respected adjudicators and my worthy opposition. I'm Chan Ki Xiong, and I'm honored to be starting today's debate. I'll be serving as the first speaker of the government team. So first, I'll begin by analyzing today's topic and then highlighting the truth of today's debate. Thank you very much.
Good morning to all. I'm Shraddha Shai Chandran, the second speaker for the government. After my first speaker has set the stage, I will be highlighting the key term need in the motion based on the status quo. After all, the need is the driving force of this debate, so it's best if I can make the need clear to all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chong Kahin, the third speaker. We understand the phrase, it is easier said than done, more so than most here. Therefore, I will present the guidelines we should enforce in order to defend that the motion is not only beneficial, but in fact doable.
Good morning to all members of the floor. I'm the fourth speaker, Chua Hijia. We also predict many of you might be skeptical to the motion's practicality. That's where I come in. I'll be enhancing and elaborating on the motion's mechanism of the keyword censorship. Well aware of the challenges. After all, we believe that the greater the obstacle, the more glory in overcoming it. Thank you.
Salutations. I'm Livina, daughter of Nanya Sigran, and I'm the last speaker of my team. And it is my pleasure to give the final keynotes and to highlight the government's case, trying to tie up loose ends and opening the eyes to the truth of the motion. Well, that's all for our introduction today. And with that, I shall reinstate the motion that the government will defend today, where there is a need for censorship in social media. Thank you.
Dialogic nights.
Quoting Salman Rushdie, who once said, "Without the freedom to offend, freedom of expression ceases to exist." We come together today to explore a big idea that we don't need censorship. In a world full of different perspectives, the idea of free and open conversations is important for a democratic society. Good day, esteemed judges and respected opponents. My name is Kirti Eskanes, a 15-year-old student, and I am honored to be the first speaker opposing the motion that there is a need for social media censorship. Today, I'll be addressing this topic through the lens of freedom of speech, arbitrary enforcement, and other pressing issues that warrant our attention. Thank you for having me today.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today I, Harish Rikandan, 16 years old, am here to approach you with an open mind and a commitment to understanding diverse viewpoints and a shared dedication to pursuit of a balanced and equitable framework for navigating the complexities of censorship in our modern world. Today, join with our team to dive into the depth of knowledge in opposing censorship. So, I hope this process will be fun with you guys. Thank you.
Good morning to the esteemed moderator and the honorable proponents. I am Kitika Ramalingam, 15-year-old, representing our perspective from this side of the house. As the third speaker, my focus revolves around a critical aspect, navigating social media for teenagers. In the evolving landscape of digital interactions, it is essential to address the unique challenges and opportunities that social media presents for individuals in their formative years. Join me as we explore the nuanced difficulties of this topic and delve into why a thoughtful social media engagement is vital for the well-being and the growth of teenagers.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected opponents, I am honored to introduce myself. I am Sharan Vasant Kumar, a 15-year-old boy to give points such as countering misinformation and promoting user responsibility to strengthen our team's stance on there is no need for censorship. I'm interested to give our argument to challenge and enrich our understanding on there is no need for censorship.
Greetings, esteemed judges. In today's discourse on censorship, I, Varshina, your final speaker at 15 years of age, will be discussing why censorship has made people be more dependent on others to control information, and the complexities involved in defining and effectively implementing censorship measures. Join us in this brief exploration as we delve into its implications and cultural norms and the delicate balance between liberty and regulation. We are the Dialogic Knights and we stand against censorship. Thank you.
Right. Thank you to both groups. Right. So we're going to start our debate. Just a reminder that we're not going to call the debater one by one. You should know your turn. Once you hear the bell rings, can you hear the bell?
Yes, clear.
Right. Okay, once you hear the bell rings, mean to say the next debater will start. Right? So you don't need to be called. Okay? Alright, so we are going to start our debate for today. So I would like to call the first debater from the supporting team.
Yes, I present. Okay. Am I audible? Is it clear to both to the opposition and also the adjudicators? How about the opposition? Can I have a response, please? It's all right? Okay. So I shall start. Hello and a very good morning. Without wasting any time, allow me to illuminate the definitions of the key terms of today's debate. First of all, what is censorship? Censorship is the suppression, the restriction, or the prohibition of information, which includes content removal and legal restrictions altogether. Next, what is social media? Social media is a platform that enables people to create, share, or to exchange information, ideas, and content in virtual communities. They usually occur in real-time interaction and engagement. They come in various forms of media, ladies and gentlemen. They come in images, videos, links, and even text. These platforms include YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my personal favorite, TikTok. To make the parameters clear, the debate focuses only on social media. Unlike platforms that connects you with the public, WhatsApp or WeChat-like messaging apps only involve two or a few consenting parties rather than a full-fledged social media platform. With that, please understand why we do not involve messaging apps in today's debate. It is also clear that the stakeholders for the debate shall be the consumers and the administrators of social media themselves, and of course, the government. Ladies and gentlemen, now my main point, that censorship is the ideal tool to address the many problems and challenges associated with this social media platform, all which the stakeholders will be in complete agreement of the benefits. First, censorship can mitigate hate speech, discrimination, and incitement to violence, fostering a more respectful online environment. And there is cyberbullying and harassment. Did you know research done by many, including CDC and The Guardian, ranked Malaysia 6th in the world with the highest percentage of cyberbullying cases? That's extremely high, ladies and gentlemen. With censorship measures employed, for the sake of the victims, we can identify and remove content that involves cyberbullying, online harassment, or threats, creating a safer place for the users. I mean, think of the kids, the innocent kids, ladies and gentlemen. In worst case scenarios, it can be used to identify and remove content that promotes illegal activities such as drug trafficking, child exploitation, and other crime behavior, even terrorist content. In short, we can combat extremists online with the help of censorship. In conclusion, there's so much more of what censorship does for the responsible virtual community. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the motion today stands firmly as there's indeed a need for censorship in social media. With this, I shall rest my case. Thank you very much.
Can you hear my bell?
Sorry, no, it wasn't clear. It wasn't audible.
Clear?
Yeah, at all. Sorry, Lizzie.
Can you hear?
No, ma'am, it's not clear, ma'am.
Okay. Can you hear?
Sorry, ma'am, we can't hear your better.
All right, if you can't hear, um, would it be okay if we just interrupt time's up? All right. Okay, so we will just interrupt and say time's up and you're supposed to stop. All right, so we shall not waste the time by ringing the bell and you can't hear too. All right, okay? Okay, so sorry, so that was technology, yeah? So this is what happens, no problem. All right, so can we have the next team for speaker? Good luck.
Honorable judges and esteemed debaters, as the first speaker, I am here to address the topic freedom of speech and other similar issues that brings up concern. Firstly, censorship can stop people from freely expressing their thoughts and ideas. It might block certain voices or opinions which is not aligned with the democratic society where we need different ideas and information to be shared openly. It also expands the limits of what we are allowed to say or express, impacting freedom of speech. For example, Twitter and Telegram don't implement censorship as users get to express about any issues with freedom and other users get to know the true side of a story. Next, I would like to emphasize on the chilling effect on expression. This simply means if people are afraid of being censored, they might decide not to talk about certain things or share certain thoughts to avoid getting into trouble. It's like putting a freeze on their ability to express themselves freely. Finally, I would like to stress on arbitrary enforcement, where censorship rules are not applied consistently. This means they might be enforced randomly or unfairly. It raises worries about whether the rules are being equally or not. This is one of the most common issues on social media nowadays because publishers don't show us the true side of a story just because they don't like it. Dear proponents, even though people might want to avoid some news, it's good to know about different things happening in the world. Social media can show us what we like, but if we see what we want, we might not really understand what's going on. It's important to mix what we like with other perspectives so we can be well informed.
Please. Next.
Hello. We, the government, believe that with certainty, that it's certainty that regardless of what will be and has been said by the opposition, the need for censorship still remains. The case for freedom of expression is idealistic, but let's face it, unrealistic. The censorship needs outweigh freedom of expression in recognition that unrestricted freedom of expression can have harmful consequences in many situations. We, the government, take precautionary steps against these risks. Better safe than sorry, won't you agree? Censorship needs to be prioritized over absolute freedom of expression. Why? Let me tell you. Firstly, limiting certain forms of expression may be justified when it interferes with the right and dignity of individuals. I mean, how much of your freedom will infringe on mine and vice versa? For instance, recently in October, a female student assaulted her fellow schoolmate for sharing a private picture of her without her permission on TikTok. That sparked controversy. When we say too much of freedom will incite chaos, so that's where censorship comes in to provide security. Secondly, censorship can be employed to align with cultural norms and moral values, especially when certain forms of expression are considered offensive or contrary to societal standards. Our country, Malaysia, is a conversative country with many sensitivities. Really, anything shared to social media can easily go viral. So rather than we upset the majority of our citizens, we, the government, advocate for upholding the peace, ladies and gentlemen. Restrictions on certain type of content are often implemented to protect the vulnerable population from exposure to harmful or inappropriate materials. Your first thought will go to children, correct? My first speaker mentioned cyberbullying as an example, but let me make sure all of you understand the severity. One local instance reported by The Star in 2022, a 44-year-old mother of three committed suicide when she couldn't handle the barrage of hateful comments of her on TikTok over merely her appearance and handbag collections. So this doesn't involve just children. You see, all ages shall benefit from censorship. With that, I emphasize that there is a need for censorship in social media. Thank you.
We have the next.
In this realm of progress and innovation, I believe that the unrestricted flow of ideas is the heartbeat of societal advancement. Respected proponents, just imagine, in an environment where certain viewpoints or expressions are restricted, what will happen to the society? There will be risk of hindering societal advancement, technological innovation, as the free exchange of ideas and creativity is stifled, and there will also be problems in international trades and investments, as companies will be less willing to operate in countries with restrictive internet policies. For example, in 2010, Google faced restrictions and censorship in China. This led Google to withdraw all of its search engine operations in that country. This decision significantly impacted Google's market shares and revenue potential to be part of one of the world's largest online markets. So, instead of resorting to censorship, efforts should be directed towards development of alternative platforms that offers diverse content moderation options. This approach allows users to choose the level of content filtering that aligns with their preferences without imposing blanket censorship. This approach also allows young users to have access to a wider range of information while maintaining their freedom of expression. For example, Gab, Parler, Telegram, and 4chan are apps that promote freedom of speech. In conclusion, rather than advocating for censorship, we should focus on creating an environment that promotes progress, innovation, freedom of expression, and fosters diverse digital landscapes. Thank you. I'll pass on the floor to the next speaker.
Good morning to everyone on the floor. The reality is that censorship has already been imposed in terms of community guidelines and content policies. We, the government, will only enforce them when needed. While guidelines vary among different platforms, common themes of censorship include hate speech, threatening and harmful content, harassment, bullying, and explicit or graphic content. Censorship is crucial in providing a free and safe community for all, ultimately ensuring user safety and well-being. Community standards like this also define acceptable behavior and content, and also fosters a sense of community and shared values. Social media operates within legal frameworks. For example, news for artistic purposes are accepted in European countries or in America. However, it is not accepted in Malaysia as it colludes with our values. It ensures that users adhere to relevant laws and regulations, and importantly, national standards before international. While we acknowledge freedom of expression, we rather set limits to it, yet striking a balance requires careful consideration of content moderation policies. The challenge here is to regulate harmful content without restricting legitimate expression. Censorship is an essential tool for social media platforms to create and provide a positive and safe digital space. Give me a moment. It provides a framework for respectful and responsible behavior while allowing users to express themselves within reasonable limits. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reinstate today's motion. there is a need for censorship in social media. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dear moderator and proponents, as the third speaker, I'm here to present a significant aspect. In a world where social media is nearly all over among teens, US Surgeon General Vivek Murthy reports that up to 95% of 13 to 17-year-old are active users. However, the narrative takes a different turn for those under 30, as it is recommended that they stay away deeming it too early for their engagement. Yet, for those 13 and above, social media isn't all bad. It's a place where teens feel accepted, find support, express their creativity, and stay connected with their friends. However, there's a catch. Parental controls designed to protect can sometimes be overly restrictive. Are we limiting access to valuable content and stifling freedom of expression? Governments like the UK advocate for censorship to shield minors from inappropriate content such as pornography. So, how can parents navigate this digital landscape? Set clear expectations, establish tech-free zones for quality family time, and collaborate with other parents to develop shared practices. It's a delicate balancing act, safeguarding youth while allowing them to enjoy the benefits of the digital world. Dear proponents, besides that, in today's tech world, kids are extremely good with technology, making it hard to control everything online. They know their way around digital tools, and there are always new tricks for hacking and getting past security. Smart people keep coming up with new ideas, making the online world a bit unpredictable. So, we need to stay on top of the things by improving online rules, helping kids understand the tech better, and teaching them to use the internet responsibly for everyone to be safe. Thank you. I'll pass it to the next speaker.
Hi, my third speaker presented the insights of what should be censored. It's now time for me to elaborate who are the parties with this power. As a social media user, an individual must have first agreed to the terms of service on social media and be responsible to obey the law and constitution. Therefore, the parties with the power to regulate and implement social media censorship should be the government and the social media authorities. Why involve the government, you might say? Because they know best the necessity to prevent the spread of content that could incite violence, hatred, or social discord, especially in diverse society like ours, where maintaining social harmony is the priority. Well then, how should social media censorship be implemented? Here, we propose guidelines for the implementation of social media censorship. First of all, clear and comprehensive policies must be put in place to provide a framework for what is and isn't allowed on this platform. Secondly, technology-driven solutions like the utilization of AI and machine learning algorithms would be effective to detect and flag potentially harmful content. Nevertheless, it should also be complemented by human moderators to ensure accuracy and contextual understanding. Not only that, transparent reporting mechanisms should be implemented or for content removal or account suspensions, thereby providing a clear explanations for actions taken. This way, the abuse of power and the suppression of freedom of speech will be less likely to happen. We are also well aware that global standards and localizations should be considered to ensure sensitivity to diverse societal contexts, hence comply with local laws while maintaining consistency with global standards where feasible. Lastly, to maintain performance of this mechanism, algorithms, policies, and moderation techniques should be continuously updated based on insights gained from assessments and technological advancement. Therefore, with this mechanism, we can possibly cover the major concerns provided by the opposition. I am in defense of the motion. There is a need for censorship in social media. Thank you.
As the fourth speaker in this debate, I firmly oppose the notion that there is a need for censorship, especially in the context of countering misinformation and promoting user responsibility. Censorship as a response to misinformation is a short-term solution which may lead to long-term problems. Overly aggressive censorship might suppress legitimate information or limit the ability to challenge and correct false narratives through open dialogue. Instead, we must focus on empowering users with critical thinking skills and tools necessary to identify and evaluate misinformation. Example apps such as Google News and BBC Reality Check implement transparent fact-checking processes and provide users with access to diverse sources of info. Moreover, emphasizing user responsibility and education is a more sustainable approach than censorship. By fostering a culture of responsible and ethical digital citizenship, individuals can engage with social media online platforms thoughtfully. In conclusion, countering misinformation and promoting user responsibility are essential components of holistic approach to addressing the challenges. I would like to pass it to the next speaker. Thank you.
Well, before I begin, I hope you would pardon my coarse voice as I'm a bit sick. Well, let's begin. Hello, I carry the final torch to elucidate the motion at hand. In my turn, I argue for the motion that censorship is a necessity with pros that trumps the cons ultimately. Ladies and gentlemen, the key term censorship by its definition carries the word suppression, which is basically a negative in its connotation. Well, we don't like to be suppressed, do we? But like the call of a void when you're high at a ledge and you have that tingling impulse to jump to your death, there are some things best suppressed for the better. Censorship doesn't stifle innovation and creativity, not the ones in lines with our values and security. We're not letting you be creative in methods of murdering others, for instance. We allow freedom of speech. We're not suppressing it fully, but we limit it for the sake of the necessity. Censorship, however, your concern is that censorship can inadvertently enforce cultural or ideological biases, as decisions on what content to censor may be influenced by the values or beliefs of those in power. We, the government, agree that is a valid concern. Indeed, there is a bias, but a bias towards maintaining social harmony. As the speakers before me has already highlighted, we censor based on guidelines agreed by both social media admins and the government. We do what is carefully decided for the good of our nation. I mean, we are the government. We are for the people. We, the government, acknowledge the risk of abuse of power, but only through checks and balances. We promote mechanisms which distribute power throughout a political system, preventing the monopolization of one institution in form of exercising total control. Unchecked censorships can lead to authoritarian practices and manipulation of narratives, which we, the government, condemn. Censorship is essential to safeguard national security by restricting the spread of content that could pose a threat, including terrorist propaganda and extremist ideologies. Protecting the interest and security of a nation may require measures to prevent the misuse of social media platforms, and with that comes the need of censorship. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we, the government, stand firm with the motion, and let me reinstate it, there is a need for censorship in social media platforms. Let me pass to the next speaker. Well, thank you.
May I begin? Lastly, have you ever imagined living in a world where your favorite song was banned? Or a favorite movie of yours? This isn't a dystopian fiction. This is the reality of censorship. Deciding what's offensive or harmful for a person depends on the person's feelings, and it could be different in various cultures. This diversity in opinion and cultural norms makes it challenging to create one set of rules that applies to everyone when deciding what content should be censored or restricted. One approach to address this issue, instead of implementing a uniform set of rules to everyone, is to let the user personalize their experience. For example, if a user encounters a video or a post they are not comfortable with and prefer not to see content like this in the future, they can block or show disinterest towards the video. ensuring content like this don't appear on their feed again. Furthermore, relying too much on censorship to control information can make people less likely to think for themselves. Moreover, if everything is censored on social media, people wouldn't know much about what's happening in the outside world. Therefore, instead of silencing voices, let's learn to listen critically and engage in a respectful dialogue. Thank you.
All right. Thank you to all the leaders. Right, we are going to start team to team exchange, okay, for 10 minutes. Make sure you respect each other, right? And make sure you respect and give a chance, right, for each other to speak about this topic. All right, now your 10 minutes start.
Well, earlier the opposition mentioned that that parental guidance and education is a far better approach instead of censoring. But don't you agree that that is just human censorship, because you're still telling your child what you can put on social media, what can you watch on social media? So isn't that a form of suppression at the end of the day in relating with the definition of censorship?
Sorry to be for the opposition. Yes, kids have their rights to express their ideas and thoughts, but why should the government censor those? Aren't we censoring the inappropriate stuff and the negative stuff? Why should we censor an innocent kid's thoughts and an idea? Isn't that inappropriate at all?
Another thing, the opposition's mechanism to battle censorship is by making an internet the personal customized for the individual itself. Isn't that a very dangerous form of mechanism? I mean, what if I want to post videos on how to suicide one-on-one? Isn't that wrong? Isn't that feeding our children, our generation, wrong things by not suppressing their freedom of expression? While with suppression, I cannot post videos like suicide one-on-one, because that will be suppressed by the government and the social media authority. Well, this just again brings back to the question of my earlier speaker: how much of your personalization and your freedom is going to infringe on mine?
Sorry, but dare I ask the opposition, why are they afraid to even speak if we impose censorship? I mean, if you know what you are speaking, of course, gradually we won't censor what is right, okay, what is right to speak, but instead we censor what is wrong and what is falsely presented to the public, and that's what we're concerned, and that's why censorship stands. And why are they afraid to speak if they know what to speak?
Okay, I think Dialogic, the other thing, I think there should be a rebuttal, and also this is a team to team exchange, meaning you need to rebut. There must be a form of rebuttal, supporting, and also opposing.
When they are throwing in a question, you may straight oppose, yeah? Please, when they keep giving you the questions, you don't remember them later to answer. Okay, it's okay. We'll give you some time. You may rebut. You may, how do I say, interrupt, and but make sure there's manners, there's respect, and you have the turn taking. All right. Okay.
Sorry, that was a misunderstanding. Really sorry for bombarding you.
Yeah, no problem. No worries.
Really
No worries. No worries. Yeah. All right. Okay. So when you have thrown Majestic, you have thrown in one question. Of course, you're expecting an answer from them now, right? Do give them some space. All right. No worries. All right. Okay. Let's go on.
Thank you. I'm afraid that I'll disagree for the statement that they have given earlier. Yes, it is true that children are exposed to many pornography, real footage, or murders and so on. But why children under 13 shouldn't be on social medias? Like, children under 13 shouldn't be on social media, but if they needed social media, they can use their parents' phones or parents' social media with some restrictions. But then for children above 13, they are allowed to use social media, but with some restrictions, such as parental control, as I mentioned earlier. Parental control means you should educate their children on what is good and what is bad, so that kids will be more matured and they will have and they can differentiate between which is good and which is bad at the young age itself. Plus, there is always a terms and conditions when you are signing into a Google account or Gmail or any social medias. For an example, in terms of services of creating a Gmail account, if you're under the age required to manage your own Gmail account, you must have your parent or legal guardian's permission. Please have your parent or legal guardian read these terms with you. This is the terms and conditions that are given in Gmail if you are underage. So this is a proof that parental control is a must for children being engaging in social medias. So, and also, no matter how much you censor a content, it can be replicated in different illegal websites. So this shows that how ineffective censorship is.
Are we allowed to reply?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
The fourth speaker or the opposition have mentioned that about children below 13. Are you denying the fact that children above 13, like us, 15 and also below 18, should actually not be protected or anyhow? And as well as the opposition also mentioned that Instagram and Twitter does not implement censorship, but this fact is actually inaccurate, where a form of censorship is actually implemented in the terms of service. Another form of censorship has already been implemented, and as you've mentioned that nowadays that censorship is not being applied consistently. That is why us government need to enforce censorship in terms of their terms and conditions rather than letting the social media authorities alone to control the power of censorship. Isn't that right?
May I add on, and you have mentioned that censorship is only applied under children under 13, right? On children that is under parental guidance. But we don't deny that the fact that, children have parental guidance. But do you think all these criminals, all these crimes were done by kids under 13? Of course, no. They were done by adults and of course people that are above 13.
Excuse me, can I interrupt, please? Okay. So I'm not quite sure that I agree with you, because I have different point of view in what you are saying actually. See, if children above 13 don't need parental guidance, that's what you're saying, right? Like above 13 don't.
That's not what they.
Okay. We have already mentioned, sorry for the inconvenience. Since we already mentioned that children above 13 need parental controls.
Children under 13 are not even supposed to be on social media, but children above 13 can be on social media, but with parental guidance and control.
And also, I feel like the supporting team mentioned just now that what if like a murder or suicide case like just pops up and the children cannot identify, actually that comes under the parental guidance. Parents should teach their children what is right, what is wrong, and also content that pops up on your feed is actually suggested based on user preference. If your child doesn't actually get involved in this kind of murder, suicide cases, I don't think these kind of videos are going to pop up on their feed. So I feel like actually censorship isn't needed because not everybody wants an information to be censored. Some people actually want to know what happened, what is the true side of the story. Not everyone wants it hidden. So yeah, that's our point. We are trying to say that I feel like censorship isn't really needed in this situation.
Excuse me?
This is
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Plus, this is how AI works actually. What you are searching, what you are browsing for, that's what you are gonna get repeatedly. Let's say if you find about violence videos or about violence, anything, and that's what you wanna get continuously. That's what we call as FYP, right? Usually, if you use TikTok, so if you find about, for an example, you find about a shoe, a Nike shoe. So that's what you're gonna get continuously, and that's what you're gonna get involved in. So this is the because of the AI algorithm. This is
Sorry to interrupt. I get the point. Okay. So when you say parental guidance and education and all that, that was the first point brought up. Isn't that a form of human censorship? Because your parent is basically there with you, telling what can you watch, what can you not watch, why is this good to watch, that is exactly what we're doing in the form of censorship. Besides that, you talked about AI algorithm, gave us a lengthy speech on how AI works and all that. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the need of censorship because how the algorithm works. When I search for one content of violence, let's say I just innocently search for one content of violence, the next minute I am bombarded with content of violence, something that I don't understand. So that is the need of censorship to not allow me from being bombarded by content of violence, something that I don't understand, so I don't do it in the act of curiosity. Let's face it, the people that are using social media are teenagers that are curious, teenagers and children that are curious. So that is why there is a need of censorship. And we are not blindly censoring, as said by the government. We are imposing guidelines, very clear, transparent guidelines and mechanisms provided by my speaker. We are not, for example, earlier the one of the speaker brought up how China trade with China and Google were all messed up and all that. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not China, we are Malaysia. We are promoting better trades in comply with local standards, in comply with conservative beliefs we Malaysians have. In comply, we have to move this in a parallel. So we cannot lean on global standards at some point. At the same time, we cannot lean on conservative and local standards. So at the end of the day, we government acknowledging both paradigms. Sure, we understand the flaws of censorship, but in this society, there is a need of censorship and that cannot be denied.
I'm afraid I disagree with the supporting team. Just now they mentioned that just now one of my teammates, one of the speakers from the opposing team mentioned that AI has an algorithm that content is suggested based on user preference. And then the supporting team said that what if somebody innocently search up for violence videos? If you know it's violence, and you know that you shouldn't be watching, why are you searching it up? Why are you using the term innocently searching it up? Because I feel like if it's not censored, you know it's not censored, I don't think you should be searching that videos up. This actually falls under user responsibility. If you're not interested in a video, you show distant interest or you block that video. You don't need censorship because, as I mentioned earlier, not everybody wants it censored. People actually want to know what happened. So yeah, I feel like that is a crucial topic we have to talk about.
Adding to the point that my team said, and that the supporting team said, you said that censorship isn't only for China. Okay, you said it's for Malaysia too. So I say that censorship, social media is actually for the whole world. Actually, it's actually public. Okay, and then you said you said that it's for Malaysia. So I can say an example too. For example, that there was a rally called Birthday Rally. During that, there was a lot of parts and information that was censored by the Malaysian news channels like Astro. And BBC and Al Jazeera came up and complained to Astro why did they censor most of the parts? Because there was police brutality as they used chemical tear gases to chase off the people who were in the rally. And there were also hosts that were sharing their opinions on that rally because there was
Thank you.
during that time there was actually not stable political electoral results, and people really wanted like
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you to both teams. Thank you. Right. So, judges, we will pose a few questions to both group, right? And this is 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. So we are going to pose a few questions, okay, to all of you. All right. The first. Right. The question is, I would like to pose this question.
Sorry, ma'am, we couldn't hear you. Please repeat the statement.
To question to the government. Can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? All right. Okay. The question is, what criteria? What criteria do you believe should use
Ma'am, you are lagging. We can't hear
to
you.
determine
Ma'am, if you don't mind,
The
to make it
question
easier, you
is,
can post the question
what
on the chat box.
Where's the question? Where's the question? Come and read the question. Hold on, yeah. Can you all hear me? Can you all
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Government, the question is, what criteria do you believe should be used to determine content that warrants censorship on social media platform? What criteria do you believe should be used to determine content that warrants censorship on social media platform?
As I have said in my speech, while specific guidelines vary among platforms, some themes include policies against hate speech, threatening and harmful content, harassment and bullying, and explicit or graphic content. That is what we believe should be censored.
To add on, I would like to say that based on these certain criteria that we mentioned, is actually solely based on the terms and service that has present nowadays, and also it's also based on the law and constitution. Therefore, these further proves and enhancing that we're not suppressing the freedom of speech. We're just regulating how freedom of speech should act in social media nowadays. Thank you.
All right, thank you, the government. Um, the opposing team. All right, opposing team, can you hear me?
Can.
All right. Are there potential risks or dangers associated with social media censorship? And how do you propose mitigating them? Are there potential risks or dangers associated with social media censorship? And how do you propose mitigating them?
Thank you, judges. Actually, there are a lot of risks in censorship in social media. For example, there is a risk of hindering societal progress and technological innovation, as I said before this, because the free exchange of ideas between communities and creativity is stifled when there is too overly aggressive censorship. And there's also risk to international trades and investment, as companies will not be able, for example, in TikTok was actually originally made for businesses. Okay, they get their profits from ad revenues and businesses that are advertised in their app. So, by banning like TikTok in China is an example where they banned TikTok. So there will be lesser opportunities of business in that countries. So they will be you say that? There won't be any like opportunities over there for businesses or anything. Like they might be the world's largest online markets, but there won't be any opportunities um, like to advertise and grow their businesses in that country, that area. So rather than that, we can also resort to efforts directed towards development of alternative platforms like Telegram, because they don't have censorship. It's actually very moderate censorship for content. They have very less like content moderation. So like this development of this kind of alternate platforms can how do you say? Um, yeah, it's crucial for netizens because they'll be able to have an access to a wide range of information since there's no censorship. They can they can maintain their freedom of expression in their platforms. That's what I'm trying to say. They'll be able to create an environment that promotes progress and innovation, basically.
Thank you.
Right. So we are done, okay, with the team to team exchange and also questions, okay, from judges. So now we are going to move on to conclusion. For conclusion, you are given 3 minutes to discuss, all right, and please choose one representative to present your conclusion for 5 minutes, all right. So your 3 minutes of preparing for conclusion start now. Okay, your preparation time is up, right? Can we start with we are going to start with the opposing team first for conclusion. Right, we are going to start with the opposing team first for conclusion. All right, you are given 5 minutes to do the conclusion. Right, your time starts now.
Thank you, judges. Okay, so in conclusion, we should stop using censorship because the way we share information has changed a lot. The old reasons for censorship, like keeping society's moral intact or maintaining political order, don't seem as convincing as today. Instead, we should focus on letting people freely express themselves and make decisions about what information to believe is important. If we get rid of censorship, we can have a society that's more informed, stronger, and better able to handle different points of views. It's about creating a world where people can share their thoughts freely, leading to a more open, understanding, and smart global community. Instead of censorship, we can use AI that can be used for content recommendations. Social media is gonna benefit or harm us either way, so it depends all on the user's responsibility. Think about it. A knife can be used to cut vegetables or to murder someone. A short quote from Jay-Z: "We change people through conversation and not through censorship." Thank you. We are signing off with a notion for there's no need for censorship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So now I would like to call upon the government to present your conclusion.
Yes, am I audible? Am I audible to all of you? Okay, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the debate, so let me allow to first summarize my points by my fellow mates. Chan began the debate by analyzing motion, basically giving definitions and setting the parameters. Then Shraddha highlighted the need, where the need is the need for censorship, and also given many examples such as spread of false misinformation and also hate speech that further boosts the need of censorship. And then Kahin also gave you the guidelines, very transparent guidelines on how we're going to impose the censorship and what to censor, what not to censor. And Chua stated the mechanism where how are we gonna comply with global and local standards, and how are we gonna move parallel. Well, and I finally explained the necessity for the purpose of national security, necessity of censorship for the purpose of national security. Censorship in social media, let's be honest, is beneficial for maintaining a safe, responsible haven for people to converse and just be happy, actually, by mitigating the spread of harmful content and protecting users from abuse and upholding community standards. Censorship is daunting, you understand? It's a lot of work, but in a rapidly evolving nature of technological advancement makes it challenging to implement effective and foolproof censorships. Users may find ways to evade restrictions, undermining the intent and impact of censorship measures. This further boosts the need of the government in the situation to better help regulating contents that should be censored and not should be censored. We should not put all this burden on one social media authority. Well, but the need, ladies and gentlemen, is ever present. We will update and evolve with the need. Well, side opposition highlighted many concerns with social media censorship, but at the end of the day, all this concern is resolved by transparent guidelines given by my speakers and foolproof mechanisms that are already given. Well, they are sort of villainizing government in a form of monopolizing social media if the government is involved in censoring. But no, we are giving transparent guidelines. Before we censor, we are saying the need to censor. Why are we censoring this content? For what are we censoring this content? How is this content harmful for the community? All these transparent measures are already given. We are also acknowledging the paradigm laid out by side opposition, where they said true censorship can lead to radical beliefs being imposed on people, radical values being imposed on people. But ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, We are giving transparent guidelines. We are saying what to censor and why are we going to censor. Also, we are not censoring ideas. We are not censoring creativity. We're not censoring innovation. If your creativity is in line with values and beliefs, if your creativity is generally not harming other people and generally not disturbing the peace of other people, not disturbing, not infringing on the freedom of other people, we are not stifling it. We are only censoring wrong ideologies, radical ideologies, for example, terrorist ideologies that are spreading in social media. So at the end of the day, sure, we might have our differences. Some might say censorship is not needed. Some will say censorship is needed. For example, the government says censorship is needed. But at the end of the day, in this era of technological advancement where there are social media and there are digital natives, we are digital natives, ladies and gentlemen, where digital natives, almost everyone have a phone in their hand and every phone has social media apps. There is a necessity for censorship at the end of the day. Censorship is needed, and we, the government, strongly support the motion today that censorship is a need in social media platforms. With that, I bid thank you.
All right. Thank you to both teams. All right. So we have ended the preliminary round, okay, as of this morning. All right. Thank you everyone for your contribution. So all of you may adjourn to the main hall, all right, to wait for the result. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the supporting team also. Thank you.
All right, thank you.